the main bulk of our parsha focuses on Kriat Yam Suf and the demolishing of all the Egyptian army. And we ask ourselves, who needs this? Ribono Shel Olam, who needs this? Paro kicked the children of Israel out of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt. They're out. They're on their way. Paro doesn't want to see any more of them. Just get out of here. Am Yisrael, the children of Israel, don't want to see the Egyptians. Good. We're separated for good. Because Baruch Hu insists, no, do this type of trick in the desert so Paro will think you're coming back or you're mixed up in the desert, and I'm going to make him run after you against any logical sense, and I'm going to drown him and his whole Egyptian army and tanks, chariots in the sea. As I say, why do we need it? What is this provocation? What does it get? What do we need it for? The Egyptians are already not threatening the children of Israel. Why did Baruch Hu want to provoke them in order to destroy them? What are we gaining from that? I think the answer is very simple. Because if we're looking backwards, it's true. The children of Israel are out of Egypt. But here, the whole idea of Kriat Yam Suf is looking forwards. I'll just give you an example. 10 years ago, I heard of Shai Piron, who was in 2013 nominated as the Minister of Education. So he said on some program, said, well, we're 2 months after the elections and now we can start to work. And then MK Zev Elkin said to him, you're a political rookie, mister. You're not 2 months after the elections, you're 2 years before the next elections. He was right, there were another elections in 2015. But in other words, you can't just look backward and say, okay, we're good and we can rest. No, you always have to think about the next step. You always have to think what's going to be your next challenge forward. And that is exactly the idea of Kriat Yam Suf. Am Yisrael was out of Egypt, true. But Am Yisrael is going to have to face a lot of other challenges in the future in the desert and mainly in Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel. There are going to be a lot of hostile nations there too. And the idea of Kriat Yam Suf is to do a big thing that will deter any nation from even thinking of attacking the children of Israel in the future. And that is the goal of Kriat Yam Suf. It's not for getting rid of the Egyptians. They deserve it. They definitely deserve it. But that wasn't the goal. We could have settled. Am Yisrael could have continued in the desert. The idea was to create deterrence for the future, to solve the future problems. And that's what we see at the end of the Shirah. The nations of Edom and Moab were all shaking. All the nations that were living in land of Canaan, Eretz Yisrael, were already melting with fear. And we see when Yoshua, 40 years later, when Yoshua sends his messengers to check out the Yericho, and Rachav tells them that everybody's frightened from the children of Israel because of Kriat Yam Suf. So, the message on a national level, obviously, is very, very simple. You don't solve the security problems or terror or whatever it is just with retaliating. It has to be always thinking of the next step and deterring our enemies from even thinking of attacking us. If it may be whoever may be thinking of attacking Israel. But it's also for us, personally, a message that we can't just, say, okay, we accomplished something and then we can just rest. It's important to be happy with our accomplishments, but we always have to think also about the challenges ahead. Shabbat Shalom.